Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse.
Salute to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate the
Yeah.
support.
Absolutely. And hit the thumbs up for us. We really appreciate that. And, drop your comments later on if you'd like. We read them all. And in case if you're new to the channel, just do a hashtag new. Be awesome. All right. Well, let's just jump into it, man. Let's go right to the trade deadline. We're under 48 hours. The clock is ticking, Leon. And today, two big moves happened that actually did impact the Knicks in a certain way. CJ McCollum, who we've been rumored to have legitimate interest in, was traded to the Pelicans with Larry Nance Jr. and Tony Snell from the Blazers. And the Blazers received Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Tomas Satoransky, and some draft compensation. Do you remember what the actual draft compensation was on this?
I think it was a first in a couple seconds. Let me just double check.
You are correct. I think you are correct. Yes. So that that was a rumor. That wasn't it kind of an odd rumor story, and I put a whole video out on it. I mean, you and I we talked about it yesterday. I could see the appeal, for bringing him in because look at us. Look what happened to us in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like someone like a CJ could really have helped in that fourth quarter.
And got us a bucket when we needed it.
Exactly. And sometimes that one bucket, helps, stop the momentum of the other team, lets the other four guys on your team kind of like gather themselves. Something that we saw often IQ do last season.
Yes.
And then Derrick Rose would do that for us.
Someone that can swing the momentum.
Exactly. RJ has been doing that. We saw him. He's come in. Sometimes he'll give you 7 points in a row. He'll stop the bleeding. But last night, we just didn't have anyone to do that.
Yeah, last night wasn't really his night either. He had pretty good stat totals, but he wasn't efficient.
Yeah. I actually have some stats of the last 4 games of both RJ and Randle to share with you guys. So you can see how they're doing. And it's pretty interesting what's developing there. I know. So let's just dive into the CJ McCollum trade there, Quis. In terms of, are you kind of relieved or are you bummed?
I'm extremely relieved. Like you said yesterday, I was not a fan of the CJ move. I didn't think the Knicks going after CJ would have really moved the needle for us and where we're trying to go long term. In the near term, it would have probably we would have seen some results, but I'm looking at this team and how are we going to build towards a championship contender. And I think when we reach that goal, I don't see CJ McCollum being a part of the roster or on the team, because I don't see it happening in the next year or two. It's probably going to take another 3-4 years of us continuing to build the culture, continuing to bring in young assets and young players and trying to develop that way. So to go and try to expedite the process, bringing in a CJ McCollum, a player who really couldn't get it done, next to a Damian Lillard, and then try to put him next to a guy like Julius Randle, who is a step down from Damian Lillard, and to kind of expect better results, I really didn't see it. So I'm relieved. Honestly, I don't think the Pelicans made a bad move in terms of what they gave up. They gave up a protected first, 2 seconds, and Josh Hart, who has been playing well this season. He's one of the rebounding guards out there, can knock down the three. But you look at the other players, Satoransky, he fell out of favor in that lineup, and you look at Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a young player, has some promise. But if I'm the Pelicans, I'm looking at it as I brought in CJ McCollum, I compare him with Brandon Ingram, and eventually Zion will come back. So that trio right there, I think you can definitely make some waves. But to pair CJ with Julius Randle and RJ, I really didn't see it as something that would take us to where we're trying to go.
Yeah. I wasn't excited about it as a long-term move. I kind of saw it as just like something to kind of try and recapture the momentum that we had last season. And then when you think about Derrick Rose coming back, that would be an interesting backcourt. I think the Knicks, it would have really helped the team a lot for the remainder. What do we have? 27 games?
Something in that ballpark.
Yeah. So I think it could have helped us get into the play-in, and then you never know with some momentum, and then there's injuries on other teams. We could have maybe gotten into the actual playoffs.
Could have been in the mix.
could have been in the mix, and there is value to that. I see more value to that, I think, than a lot of other people, which is fine. It's not a neither here nor there situation. And then I thought, you know what? He's an asset. Maybe then we can actually flip him later, possibly. So I wasn't that crushed that deal didn't happen, but then later on,
gut punch.
It was a punch. Yeah, it was like kind of like when you accidentally hit yourself in the Adam's apple,
when you stub your shin on the bedside.
Yep.
One of those.
Yep. Or you accidentally like flick a testy. Woo! That's how that
felt. Catch it in the zipper or something.
Yeah, exactly. Man. Ow! Woj dropped a testicle nut-crushing bomb on the Knicks. The Pacers traded Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb twice, apparently, to Sacramento for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Nobody knew Tyrese Halliburton was even actually available. Did anyone even bother asking for them?
There were reports that both Fox and Halliburton were available. Then there were also reports that they took them off the trade market or off the trade block. But I've been saying I like Halliburton. That's the guy that we should have been pursuing in Sacramento as opposed to De'Aaron Fox. And this one really hurt because, like you said, there were reports that Halliburton was available, but who really thought that the Kings would decide to move on from him so soon, especially with the way he's been playing in his first 2 seasons here in the league. So this one hurt me. I felt like the Knicks could have offered a similar package. If you would have included Julius Randle, then you would have brought in a player in Halliburton that I thought could play beside a RJ Barrett and fit the trajectory of this team. He's a similar age as the guys that are already part of our young core, and it would have been a nice addition to this team. You'd have had to bring in Buddy Hield, but even his contract, there's another 2 years on his deal, or 2 or 3 years, but it gets cheaper as the contract goes on, so you can live with that, and hopefully at some point, if he doesn't perform, you can move on from it. But to see the Pacers do it, and now we're gonna have to deal with them in our conference, sucks.
Yes, and now he's going to be paired with Duarte, the other guard that we wanted in the draft.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a really tough one for me to swallow. In some ways, I think, the Kings. I like Sabonis, and even though we have our own issues with Randle. But Randle, a lot of it is up here. His actual skill on the court. And I'm going to show you guys that he has actually recaptured the 2020 version of himself. So watch out. That might be actually part of the thinking of what's going on with the Knicks. They're like, hey, we're not going to sell our guy short right now. Right now, he's undervalued. He's depressed his value because of the way he's been playing for the majority of the season and the way he's been acting. So they were probably thinking, hey, we can't just give him away. So Pacers step in, but in my opinion, Randle is a much more impactful player than Sabonis is.
Yeah, I won't argue with you on that one.
Yeah,
but George,
even
if we were
middle range Randle, is not middle range, but mid to
mid tier.
Yeah, mid tier.
Randle is better than Sabonis. But George, if we were to go and try to set up a deal where it would be Julius Randle and the key piece in that deal coming back to you was Halliburton, you wouldn't say we sold low, would you?
I personally would not. No, I would.
See, so in this deal, this wouldn't have been an issue where we would sell low if the Kings would be willing to take Randle in a deal.
Yeah,
to me, that's what sucks, because this was not like a middling move for the Pacers in which they didn't get much in return for Sabonis. They got a legitimate guard in Halliburton that could have star potential. So I would include Julius Randle, try to reset the expectations for the team this season before it becomes too much and we don't have the talent to really live up to it. That would have been the way I would have gone, because this would have been the perfect deal for our situation right now, where we're seeing we don't necessarily have the talent to make that push into the playoffs. So let's reset and not do a major, massive rebuild, but a slight reset, moving on from Julius Randle, bringing in a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, and then building around that young core. This would have been the perfect move for us, but unfortunately now the Pacers are the ones doing it.
Yeah. Oh, we got a super chat. We survey 100 people. Thank you so much, man, for your contribution. He asks, I tried this trade on the trade machine and it worked. What y'all think? Randle and Burks for Barnes and Holmes. Do you want to go first?
Well, my issue is I think I don't want to target. If I'm moving off of Randle, it's going to bring in a player that I think can fill the role of point guard of the future. So that's what I'm trying to move off of Randle for. I don't think I would move off of Randle and bring in a wing when we still don't have enough minutes, I think, when healthy to get Cam in. So that would be my only issue.
Me too. If we had a point guard, like our point guard of the future on our team, I would be looking at something like this. But if Randle's our best asset to trade at the moment, we need to get a point guard in return right now, especially since we actually have Obi waiting in the wings to take over that role, that starting forward role. And then, you know, maybe in the deal, you do get another 4 as a backup in exchange. But it's an interesting idea. But definitely, I think our need is so great at the number 1 position that right now making trades for other pieces just seems, I don't know, seems
running in place.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's interesting to think that the money works there. It's an interesting one.
I mean, Burks does have to go though.
All right, let's take a moment right now and let's talk about. All right, we have less than 48 hours. We know what the issues are with the Knicks. What do you think the Knicks are actually going to do by 3 p.m. Thursday?
I don't think they're going to do much, honestly. Like we just said, if any major move is going to have to involve Julius Randle, and I don't think they're going to move off of Julius Randle unless they get a point guard in return. I don't see them moving him and bringing in another wing, or, you know, there's reports that we're going to extend or try to extend Mitch. So I don't see them trying to bring in a big. So I really see them sitting pat, trying to move off of, you know, maybe an Alec Burks or Nerlens Noel or, you know, and Kemba, and then just moving forward with the team we have at that point, because already we have players that can get into the rotation and play solid defense, give a maximum effort. And we got players like Deuce still not getting any run. You know, Sims, he's going to get some run today because, you know, Mitch, like you said earlier, has the bad backs, not going to play. Nerlens Noel, he's pretty much part-time at this point. He comes in every other game. And, you know, I think that's the direction they should go. But that's the direction I think they should go, and I think that's the direction they're actually going to go, because I don't really see any other moves available to them at this point. Any other move they try to make is not going to make big of an impact.
So what's your most likely move that you think the Knicks will actually make?
They're going to try to move off of Burks.
Yeah.
There's been reports that they're trying to package Burks with one of their negative assets, like a Nerlens Noel or a Kemba Walker. Try to free up some minutes for Cam, because they invested a first-round pick in Cam. So you're going to have to do something at the deadline to get him into the rotation. So that's the move I really see them ending up doing. I don't really see them making any major splash like some of the trades you have up there now.
Gotcha. Best of Worst says Derek White, I still say, is the best option to go after. Dog defender and overall good passer, scorer, and passer. I like him. I don't know if he's like the answer in terms of the point guard, the future for us, but he's definitely he's a really good defender. Actually, I like him.
If you want me to say what I want the Knicks to do, I want them to go and try.
We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
We're gonna get to that. I think I here's the thing. When I saw that the Knicks had this legit interest in CJ McCollum, I immediately felt, you know what?
I hope you panicked.
Did I panic?
I hit the panic button.
You hit the panic.
Raise the alarms.
I wasn't as panicked as you. But it did. What did hurt was it made me think that, you know what, they're gonna hang on to Randle. Randle's not getting traded by February 10th.
Yeah, that's why I hit the panic button.
Yeah. So that was tough. So once I realized, okay, that means Randle's staying, then what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna get that point guard? So then that's why the CJ McCollum, you know what? Maybe this is kind of like a way to get around needing an actual bona fide point guard. We do point guard by committee. We do have RJ. We do have Randle. That's very high usage rates. And you throw CJ in there, and then Derek comes back. I thought, okay, maybe this kind of might work, but it wasn't in line with this, because I'm with you. I want to go with the youth. This is it. And in my opinion, last year accelerated our timeline, but then Julius let us down because he didn't really turn out to really be a number one guy.
Let's be fair, it's not just Julius, it's the front office.
Yes.
Julius let us down. Front office put players that haven't performed to the levels that we expected around him. So it's been a mixture of those two things. And Thibs, his rotations hasn't helped as well.
It feels like almost everything has kind of gone wrong.
Everything, yep.
Except for
we could have survived one of those things going wrong, but all three of them,
right? Our free agent signings. I mean, other than Derrick Rose, and even that you can kind of say went wrong as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's missed eight weeks.
He's missed more games than he's played.
Exactly. So,
and the deal just started.
Right. Every single free agent signing has actually not really worked out. I mean, Fournier has come the closest. He actually his actual 3-point numbers are tremendous right now. He's really been delivering from that point. But we know what defensively, he's a huge liability.
Mm-hmm. He's making boneheaded plays time after time in the clutch, and you're like, "Hey, bro, you were the leader on Team France in some high pressure moments, and you're kind of faltering for us. It kind of sucks."
Yeah, but and a lot of it is when you combine Randle and Fournier together to try to make plays in the fourth quarter in crunch time.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Totally recipe for disaster.
And then you add in Alec Burks inbounding the ball.
Yeah, exactly. It's because we have guys that are talented and they have certain abilities, but they're not being cast in the right role for them.
Mm-hmm.
And who makes that decision?
Thibs.
Yeah. Let's talk about Thibs for a few minutes. What would your grade for Thibs be? Be really objective. Try to, be really objective. What's your overall grade for Thibs this season?
Overall,
I mean, think about everything. Think about, the COVID.
All encompassing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Leon giving him these players.
I'd say a D+.
A D+.
D+, yep. Because I still need, because there's still grounds for termination and bringing in a new coach. I can't give him a C. So C was off the table. So I'll give him a D+. He gets the D+ because, like you said, Leon Rose really didn't give him the players to excel this season. But outside of that, I still think a lot of it is on Tom Thibodeau, because Tom Thibodeau, I don't think he's responded to Julius Randle and the way he's kind of had his meltdown this season. I don't think he's handled some of the young players on this roster the right way. I don't think he's been mixing and matching a lot of the players on this team together in the right rotation. So a lot of that falls on Thibs. And if they were to decide to move on at the end of the season, I wouldn't object. So just off those bases, off that basis right there, I'd have to give him a D+.
You know what?
Because a C is passing.
If you would
not passing by a lot, but it's passing.
Yeah, I think you know what? I think a D+ might be.
Well, D+ kind of passing too.
The D+ is passing, but it's not.
Well, I was in one of the allied health fields, so a D and a C, you don't get past. You got to have at least like a stadium. Yeah. Those are off a little bit. My fault.
C-, D+. They're still below the median, the half, which is where we are. We're in the bottom third of the league, so I think a D is pretty on par. Wow! So the coach of the year, the two-time coach of the year, who miraculously transformed this team last season into a 4th seed, 41 wins, is now a D+ coach. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you around the Knicks-Verse.